Alex at Carmdale Farm. We are going to talk all things flower stand today. I'm up at our stand right now. We are working on our Saturday sale today when we are filming this, and I put some notes together talking about what I think has made our flower stand so successful this year in year 2 in Oklahoma. And I also put together some thoughts on what I think you should consider if you're considering starting a flower stand, if you're considering adding a flower stand to your farm, or if maybe your flower stand isn't going as well as you had hoped. Maybe some of these things we're going to talk through will help improve or maybe make some tweaks or reconsiderations for your flower stand. And at the end, I had posted on Instagram and YouTube asking all of our followers for questions. Like if you have anything I haven't covered before, or if there was something I just haven't talked about in any of our videos that you're really curious about, I put those questions together and we're going to go through them. So I'll tell you a little bit about our flower stand, especially if you are a new viewer, if you're not used to our channel. We are a year 2, we're just about finishing up year 2, Oklahoma Flower Farm. We grow in the northeastern part of the state, and we only sell at our roadside stand. Every once in a while, I'll do like a small custom order if someone reaches out and they want more stems than comes in our standard market bouquet. But we pretty much just sell exclusively from our flower stand, and we are open 1 day a week. We are open on Sunday mornings starting at 9 a.m. and we tend to, more often than not, sell out within a couple hours. Typically by lunchtime or a little before, we're closing down the stand and we have sold out. We started obviously much smaller, and as we've grown, we put more and more bouquets out for our demand that's been increasing. And now on average, I shoot for a minimum of 30 bouquets in our flower stand, and that's typically our numbers that sell out. Last week we sold in the 40s. Our highest was sometime in July, and it was in the 60s that we sold out. Our roadside stand is located in the front of our flower fields right along the road. We created what we call our flower farm drive-through. So we have our farm sign, and then people come in one set of gates. It's our only entry. And then they pull around in like a U shape in front of our flower stand. And so to their left is the flower stand on the road, and then, well, roadside, I should say, it's still in our property. And then on the other side is the flower farm. So they can see everything we are doing. There is nothing to hide when you come to our flower farm to go to our flower stand. So you can see everything. And then once you've grabbed your bouquet, you've paid, you exit out the other gate. So that makes for great traffic flow for people. It makes it very convenient, especially for husbands who are coming to just quickly grab bouquets for their wife and head home and drop it off. It's like a drive-through experience. Sometimes if people want to stay a bit longer and loiter and visit and chat, they'll pull off a little bit to the side so that the flow can continue. But people love the location of the flower stand because they can see everything. So there is a fence line, so they can't actually go into the flower fields because that would just be too much. We're not set up for that. But it's a cattle panel fence, so it's visually easy to see through. People will walk up to the fence, they'll take pictures, or they'll put like their cute little kids holding the flowers against the fence with the flowers, the bouquet in their hands and the flowers in the background to take pictures. And we find that people really love being able to see exactly where their flowers were picked from when they pick up their bouquet. So that's the location and experience for our customers. I mentioned we sell retail market bouquets. We sell wrapped bouquets, wrapped in craft paper. This is exactly what a bucket will look like in our flower stand. Our buckets, I always get asked this question, are steel buckets we bought at a feed store in town. We're in Oklahoma, so everything is feed stores for all of the ranches around us. But a Tractor Supply equivalent should have them because they're just feed buckets, but we like the metal look for our stand versus like the plastic harvest buckets that we use in the field. They hold about 5 or 6 bouquets depending just on how beefy the flowers are of what's blooming. They can hold about 6, which makes my counting easy when it's like I have 7 buckets, there's 6 bouquets in each. I can make my count really easily. They're wrapped in craft paper, and they're $20. We have one price point. We don't sell jars. We don't sell multiple price points. It is $20. They are all the same in size. I try to give a little bit of a variety, but not much. They're almost all pretty much identical. we find this makes the customer buying experience a lot less stressful because the customer is not thinking, am I making a poor decision? I'm not very familiar with flowers, or I can't identify all of them. I'm looking at 6 different formulas, different prices. What is the best value? What's the best buy? What's going to last the longest? I'm nervous. I don't know what to choose. I'm paralyzed and frustrated. I don't want that experience. So we have one price point and we have one max 2 different formulas that we use when we put our bouquets out. And so usually when I take a picture for our marketing on Facebook, I will take a picture typically like a bird's eye view looking down at all of the buckets gathered together. And there is a uniformity to them. It doesn't look, especially to my eye, chaotic or really jumbled with a bunch of different colors and color tone palettes and options. That's not what it looks like. And I think our customers respond to it. I think they like looking at our marketing pictures and saying, oh, this is what the bouquets look like this week. I'm going to go to the stand and I'm going to get one of them. Versus like the hot sauce at a grocery store, there are 20 different choices. Which one's good? Which one do I like? Oh, I like them all. I can't choose. Now I'm frustrated because I like that one and I like that one. And I'm bummed that I don't get that one. Sort of experience. It's very streamlined and simple. Steak and potatoes, simple, where our customers can feel confident in their selection of what they chose that week. And I try to make the bouquet slightly different each week. So usually different colors will be blooming in the field or a new variety will just start to bloom. And so there's variety each week for our customers, but that week it's all a very similar experience. So right now we are doing sunflowers, basil, and celosia. I have all pretty much yellow, classic yellow orange sunflowers. I have cinnamon and lemon basil. And then I have pink, like bubblegum pink, white, and magenta celosia. And I'll give various combos of the celosia, but that's really it for the variety. And I think it makes for a simple, but really striking and beautiful fall color bouquet. When we are open, I mentioned that we're open 1 day a week. We're open on Saturday mornings. Our customers have learned that. We have a goal in year 3 to expand to 1 weekday opening. I'm not sure whether it's going to be Tuesday or Wednesday, but it'll be one of those days because that'll put it about midweek. And then we'll have Saturday. And so in year 3, we will be open twice. See how that goes because Saturday has been so successful for us. And then lastly, on details about our stand is our payment processing system. So we have a cash box. It's bright green. It's bolted to the side of our flower stand. Cash is really easy, especially because our price point is $20. They don't have to worry about having change for if it was like 15 or a 10. I feel like everyone nowadays has a $20 bill if they're going to carry cash. They can pull out a 20, put it in the cash box. Super simple and fast checkout experience. Our other option is we have a credit card kiosk system on our iPad. We use Square for our payment processing, and then we pay a monthly fee to use Kiosk Buddy, which is an app that is on the iPad, and it allows our customers with a docking station to swipe or insert chip to pay with credit card. And it's like a touch screen. They can do like if someone's buying 3 bouquets, sometimes if someone is buying 3, they don't have $60 in cash, so it's really easy for them to use a credit card. They can select the amount 3, use a credit card, really easy checkout. And so we pay a monthly fee to Kiosk Buddy so that people can use credit cards. I don't necessarily think this is for everyone because it has a monthly fee to it, but because of our volume, like I said, we're selling between like 30 and 40-ish bouquets every Saturday, 60% of that being credit card. That is hundreds of dollars in credit cards that covers the fee. It makes the fee worth it for the convenience for our customers. If your flower stand is at more like 10 bouquets when you're open and 3 of them might want to use or 4 of them might want to use credit card, that amount would make it a little bit harder when seeking profitability to cover the monthly fee. So that's why we are doing that. I love it. I have no complaints. I mean, obviously it'd be great to not have to pay the fee, but it's been so convenient and easy on our customers, because when you think about how customers are buying anything else in their life, they're using their credit card. Everyone's now used to like the tap, the chip, the touchscreen system. So many small businesses are moving to a touchscreen system. at checkout, and people are really used to it. And so having that at our farm, at our flower stand, I think adds a ease and professionalism to the checkout process that customers are very familiar with. I feel very opinionated about that as well, because last year when we started our farm and we had a flower stand, we didn't do this. We were just starting out. We weren't selling as much, blah, blah, blah. But we did the classic cash box, QR code, or Venmo were our options. My customers did not like that. Now, all my customers are not older. They're not all of the boomer generation, but even the ones like my age and stuff, it just wasn't going as easy. They were having to stand there a longer time. I can see the stand from our house, and I'd be like peeking through like a creeper through the blinds, and I would see my customers like standing there for a long time, flipping through their phone, trying to make sure it was correct, double checking the name. Is this what I'm supposed to do? Did it go through? And they just didn't love it as much. And I thought, I need to eliminate as many stress points or barriers for my customers who are already coming to me and expending the most effort to make the purchase than I am. I want to make it easy for them. And so we had an old iPad, like an older generation iPad. My husband did a lot of research on the fee structures and payment plans, and we just thought credit card is the way to go, and it's really proved itself this year. So if you sell a bit higher volume at your flower stand, or Venmo QR codes have been a challenge, like your customers just don't use it. Like apparently a lot of people that I'm interacting with in Oklahoma don't love to pay that way. I would look into it. I think that it has definitely increased our sales and made it an enjoyable experience where our customers want to come back because they know like the credit card system is there. They don't have to worry about forgetting cash. They don't have to fuss with apps on their phone. It's just stick your card in, tap, tap, check out, remove your card, and they're off. The purchase is complete, they're happy, and they're on with their day. So we love our payment processing system. So those are details about our stand that has been going so well for us in year 2. I want to talk a bit about now maybe because of our experience, what I think you should consider if you are thinking about starting a flower farm, are thinking about adding a flower stand to your existing flower farm, or if maybe things aren't going quite as well at your existing flower stand, that maybe there's some changes you could make or things you could reconsider to maybe make it more successful. So first up is location. I am in the Flower Farmer group on Facebook, a bunch of other groups, and I see chatter about flower stands and maybe like frustration points or things that are going well or not. And one myth I see repeated a lot by people that I want to dispel is that your location on a busy road is essential. So I'll see a lot of comments of like, my road is too quiet, or I don't live on a busy road, or we have really low traffic, we're rural. I don't think that matters. Now, I don't talk to every single customer that comes to the stand because it's self-serve, but probably 1 or 2 Saturdays a month, I will make a point to stay out there, talk to my customers, interface, chat, get to know people, because that makes us a better business, getting to know our customers. And when I talk to people, I can think of 2 times from March through September where someone said to me, oh, we were just driving by and saw your sign and decided to stop in. 2 people out of, I've spoken to at least 100 people over the course of our season, different people that have come to purchase from us, and only 2 people said that. So I know confidently and definitively that at least 90%, if not higher, of all of the traffic that is coming to our flower stand, I personally am driving through our marketing on social media rather than relying on just random Nancy drove by, saw a sign for flowers, you turned back and came to buy flowers. That's just simply not what's happening. Now, if you live on a busy road and the signage is getting a lot of eyes on it, of course that helps with marketing. Of course, the more people who don't know you yet and drive by and see that you exist, is that going to help with your increasing your following and your exposure? Absolutely. But just simply having a successful flower stand, relying on the drive-by traffic, I don't think matters. So I would wipe that off of your consideration list. Now, for location, the things that do matter, I think you do need to take seriously how far of a drive your customers will have to make and what that driving experience is. So, for example, if you live 30 minutes outside of town and people have to drive 2 miles down a gravel dirt road to get to you, I'm a little nervous for you because that is a big ask. That's a big time commitment. No one likes driving their car long distances on a dirt road. That's a big ask. It's a big lift for you to convince customers to come buy from you regularly. That would be a problem. Now, we live 10 minutes from the north side of our small town. We live on a paved road that would be considered a rural road, but it's how do I say this? It's busier than some of the rural roads up there, but it's not like a main travel through. My husband might disagree with that, but like looking out the window now, and it's been like 3 minutes since I've seen a car go by. So it's not like I'm on a main frontage road or like a busy neighborhood road. We get a lot of trucks and work trucks that go through because we're kind of between two of the highways in our town. And so it's like a cut through road, but it's still a fairly rural road. So it's not highly traveled, but people know it and it's fairly convenient. I would say, if I had to guess, the average drive time for our customers is between 10 and 15 minutes that come to us. But we've had people that have come from Tulsa, which is our large metro region, and that's like 35, 45 minutes, depending on where they're coming. That's not average. It happens, and I'm really thankful for it because it expands our reach, our radius reach, but that's not the main experience. I would say between 10 and 15 minutes. So if you're hyper rural with a really small town, with a very country road, that might be a hard sell. But if you just live in a cul-de-sac or just a side street that's just not very busy, but it's paved and you're within probably 20 minutes on average of your customers, I think that's sufficient because it's going to come down to marketing. So that leads well into the next consideration I would ask of you when you're thinking about a flower stand, and that would be marketing. Like I said, almost everyone comes here because of our marketing, and that is effort, that is time, and that is almost exclusively time spent on social media. So I would ask yourself and be honest, do you enjoy social media? When you think about social media, do you kind of like cringe and die a little bit inside? Do you spend a lot of time thinking about what am I gonna post, what I'm gonna say, I'm nervous about it, or I feel uninspired, or I just don't know what to do, or I'm not very comfortable on the platform, or it just in general on principle you don't like social media? If you feel allergic in any way to social media or it doesn't make you feel comfortable, I would at least wave a yellow flag, because marketing is, I believe strongly, pivotal to the success of a flower stand. And if you don't like it, or it is a big thing that you have to like hype yourself up to do and interact with, I think you're going to find a lot of frustration bringing traffic to your flower stand. So like I said, last weekend we sold in the 40s for our bouquets. Everyone came because I spent every single day the following week posting on social media, replying to comments, replying to DMs, posting in Facebook groups. I was really active. I would say confidently, I spend 60 to 70% of my time growing, and 30 to 40% on marketing, branding, social media, content creation, not YouTube, but like Instagram and Facebook. And I believe strongly that that is a big reason why we have been successful on our flower stand and how we bring people to us. So if you really don't like it, I would at least say I feel nervous for your potential for success, because like I said, I'm not relying on random drive-bys. I am telling people about the flower stand. I'm building a following on Facebook, getting people to come to us. And so if you don't want to do that, it's going to decrease your likelihood of traffic to your stand and people coming to your stand. So I know that's not the answer some people want, because I know some growers and flower farmers, they just love the element of growing and arranging and being outside and growing flowers and creating beautiful things, and they think about Facebook and they want to die. I don't know. I think you could change your mind, because this is business. I think you could change your attitude about social media. But if you're just like, no, it's a line in the sand for me, I don't know if a flower stand would be the greatest idea. The next thing I would consider would be do a market analysis in your area. And what I mean by that is, one, are there a lot of other flower farms around you? If you're like, I could draw a 5-mile circle around me and there's 3 other flower farms, I'm already a little nervous for you. The dream is not dead. I'm just nervous. But then if you said to me, all those 3 farms also have flower stands, I would say, I would table the flower stand idea and think about assessing those other flower farms and see how you could provide something different that they're not doing as a way to stand out and be successful on your own farm, because you're doing something different than the others around you. So for example, like if someone was in my area and wanted to start a flower farm, I don't think it would be the wisest choice for them to start or have their main focus be a flower stand, because that's what we've worked really hard to carve out as our niche for our flower farm. But there are a lot of things that we don't do. I don't do big events. We're not doing U-Picks yet. We don't sell to florists right now, for example. Like those are areas that are available to someone around us, for example, where I think they could knock it out of the park and do a great job. And it's different for what I'm doing, and that's how they could differentiate themselves. So I think you need to honestly look at what's happening around you in your market, and not just here's the dream sheet of everything a flower farmer in general could do in theory, but say, in my town, what are flower farmers doing and what can I do that's different, and kind of be the premier flower farm for that area. Now that doesn't mean that in the future you can't expand, or maybe that farm closes and so then you're like, oh, well now there's an opportunity sort of thing. Things change in business. You can change your mind. But if you're trying to launch something, I would do a honest market analysis of where you could think you could find the most success based on what's immediately around you. And then another thing I would consider is the volume capacity that your flower farm has for the stand. This is a little bit more opinion on my part, because again, we're not experts. I'm just sharing with you what has been successful for us, what I'm observing, what I think maybe could generally apply for everyone. I think if you consider what a customer is seeing from their eyes, and the fact that you're asking them to get in their car, drive to you to buy your flowers, what do they see? And if they see a flower stand that has 4 bouquets in it, I think that communicates I think it lessens the value of what they perceive you're able to offer and what their shopping experience is going to be, versus a flower stand that feels really full and abundant and a lot of choices, because your customer is still shopping. Everyone wants to feel like they have choices, and everyone wants to feel like they're going to what is a professional business that is growing beautiful flowers, and I want to be a part of that. And I think a very small amount of bouquets doesn't communicate that psychologically to your customers. Now, I know that there's nothing worse than making, let's say, 10 bouquets when you know you're probably only going to sell 3 or 4. I get that. It sucks. It sucks to compost flowers you don't sell. It's frustrating, and it feels like you're losing money because you didn't sell those bouquets. But you have to think also from a marketing perspective, what stuffing your stand a bit fuller communicates to your customer, and the opportunity it gives you for marketing, because a very full stand can create very different looking photographs that you can have to market on social media, on Facebook and Instagram, the different pictures you can take, the abundance that you can communicate to people about your flower farm becomes much easier when you have a full display versus only a couple. Now, if you make 5 bouquets and you think you're going to sell 3 or 4 and that makes you happy because only 1 is not sold, you put it in your house, I get that. But if you had made 10, it communicates to the customer, look at all these choices. Oh my gosh, look at all these flowers they're growing. This must be a real flower farm. This must be a lot going on. I want to go to the stand. I want to shop. I want to see these things. And then as you sell them and you market that on Facebook that it's a desired product, people are going to want it even more. And so I would, when you're field planning, this is for someone who's about to start a flower farm or is just scaling up. When you're field planning and stuff, I would say shoot to grow a little bit more so that you can stock the stand and look at it as almost a marketing expense rather than a lost sale, if I'm making sense. I think it's worth it. I think it communicates something to customers that it's hard to put a tangible value on, like we can, well, that was $40 that I didn't sell. You can't communicate maybe what your customers are seeing from the marketing photos you were able to take from those $40 that didn't sell. So all of that to say is I think a lot of people could stuff their stands a bit fuller and actually maybe increase their sales that way than what they were seeing when they only put like 5 or 7 bouquets out. But you might have to go a little bit through the rough patch of having a chunk that doesn't sell, and that feels like a bummer, but got to push through that. Last thing on my list of things I would ask you to consider when you're building or setting up your flower stand is, again, thinking through the eyes of your customer. What is the customer experience like? Did I build like a tiny shack, put it at a corner of a dirt patch under some trees with nothing around, and then try to get people to come? I would think through, how can I make this more than just my customer is bringing flowers home? Like they're picking up and paying for their bouquet. What else can you give the customer that it feels like it's added value to their experience? For us, and I know every property layout is different, so we all can't be doing the same thing, but for us, it was putting the flower stand in front of our flower farm. Used to be in front of our driveway. The front of our house is beautiful. You can see our YouTube videos. I think it's a beautiful experience, but it was still at the front of our driveway. A front of the driveway communicated to me like, this is my family home. This is a home business. And the flower fields were like away from it, and it felt a little bit disjointed and not communicating what we wanted. So we moved it. We created the drive-through. We moved it in front of the flower fields. I think that's when like our sales skyrocketed. We went from selling like 15 on a Saturday, maybe 20 if it was like booming, to now being in the 30, 40s, and 50s. And I think because it's more of an experience. They're driving in front of a flower farm. They're seeing the flower farm up close. They're able to take pictures. There's more bouquets out there, so they want to take a picture and they want to tag us on social media and show all their friends of, look what I did, look where I went. Our returning customers love coming each week and seeing how the fields are developing. Like, those weren't open last week when I was here. Oh, what did you just plant? That sort of experience. Now, if you can't put your flower stand in front of the fields, for example, with your property layout, can you build a stand that's really inviting and wonderful? Is it Instagrammable? Is it Pinterestable? Is it just really darling that someone would want to take a picture in front of it? Or they want to do like the short little 3-second Instagram story clip of it, of like, oh my gosh, look where I went. Can you create an experience where it's like, I'm not just buying flowers, I'm having a moment in my day, and I set aside time to go to this experience regularly because of the joy it brings me and the event that you make it. And so I would think about that. If it feels very disconnected from your flower farm, or it feels kind of sloppy and kind of like like I said, a shack in the woods. But you know what I mean? Like, think about if you were a customer going to buy something, would this be really fun for you? Or would it be kind of like, am I at the right place? I guess is what I'm pointing at. Those were the questions, the things to consider when either changing up your flower stand or thinking about if it would be good to add it to your flower farm. I hope that was helpful. Like I said, I asked on Instagram and YouTube flower stand questions. Like, tell me your questions, all things flower stand related. And we got some great ones. We've got 6 here I want to go through. I think it'll be helpful that maybe wasn't touched on in the other categories I mentioned. First one was, they were asking me the startup costs for our stand. My husband built our stand And he filmed 2 videos on our YouTube channel, I can link them below, about building our flower stand. So if you have a handy husband, or he's going to be the one to build your flower stand and you want to share that with him, go look, show him those videos, send him those videos. But the key thing we did with our flower stand that I think was really smart of my husband is he put it on a pallet, and that way it can be moved by our tractor. So we can move it out in the beginning of the season. We can store it away in winter. Sometimes we can move the location, you know, based on like the sun track and everything. We can adjust it. Makes it really easy to move versus something that is just like so heavy. It's such an issue moving it. Now that might not be something you care about. You might have a very permanent space you want to put your flower stand, in which case it's like, go for it, commit to it. But I liked the pallet idea. We built it last year. We really want to be profitable as soon as we possibly can. And so we're very mindful about the stuff we spend money on. And it's so easy to look at like the year 5, 6, 7 flower farms and like the beautiful infrastructure they've created, the beautiful things they have, and think like, well, I see what they're doing, I want it now. And expenses can really run away with you really quickly if you're looking at trying to create something that maybe a much older flower farm has. So because of that, we didn't spend that much money on it, which I'm thankful for. The pallet, you can get a pallet for free. We have the metal tin roofing from Lowe's, which is not that expensive. We have the board, like almost like particle board-ish, a bit thicker than that because it's outside, backing on 3 sides. And then our neighbor had some scrap cedar in his junk pile. Eric went and grabbed it, cut it for the legs and stuff that he needed, and that's our flower stand. And it's been more than paid for with our sales, and I love it. I have no complaints about it. The only thing, someone asked if we would do something differently with it, what would we do? At the time, we didn't know how successful this would be. So if I could go back, I would make it double wide. I would do 2 pallets so we had a bit more space to put things on. But as you've seen in some of the videos we've showed here on this video, we put a pop-up tent, got it from Walmart, again, not very expensive, and a card table with a beautiful tablecloth on it, and the overflow buckets go there. So yeah, it would be nice to have a double wide stand so I could fit more in a stand, but we've still created kind of like a market shopping environment with the tablecloth table and the tent so we can accommodate having an increased volume. So I would caution against spending a ton of money so that you can be profitable faster. But if you're like, I'm all in on this, I think it's going to go awesome in our town, I've gone through your checklist, I think this is going to be great, I know what we want to do, and we're going to go big, that could be awesome too. Make it an experience for your customers. That is worth considering. Another question we got is, did we need permits for this? We live in Oklahoma. Oklahoma loves freedom and they don't care what we're doing. So no, we didn't need to get any permits. It's such a blessing to live in Oklahoma and not need to check in with Father Government all the time of what we're doing on our own property. So we didn't have to do anything. There's cottage laws and stuff if we were to sell some other sort of things that we're not selling, that like maybe we'd have to look into it a little more, but we did not need any permits. That's not the same everywhere. There are some people where they are zoned to not be able to do this. And I know that's a huge bummer. So it's definitely worth checking into because you don't want to do anything, I guess, wrong and get in trouble per se. But in Oklahoma, we haven't had to do anything, and I'm very, very thankful for that. Another question is, how do we keep the flowers fresh in the heat? You're not going to love my answer to this question because it's a little bit of a cop-out, but honestly, we sell out so quickly in the morning. I have not had to combat this issue too much. We had a couple slow days in July where I kept the stand open past noon, and I didn't love it because it was so hot. It gets so hot here in Oklahoma, and mainly the basil is my drama llama, would just get a bit wilty and stuff. I've heard people put, I mean, of course you have to keep it in the shade. Can't have direct sunlight in. That would be a disaster. I've heard about people putting ice cubes in the water to keep that core temperature in the environment down. I think that would work. But honestly, it's part of my motivation in my marketing to increase the demand and the how do I say this? Our customers have kind of learned that we are open in the morning, and if they want to get our flowers, they need to plan to come to see us in the morning, and we sell out, and that's it. As of now, I don't have a huge goal of stocking the stand so much that we're open all day in the summer, largely because of that reason. I don't want to have to deal with concern about product quality by saying I need to be open 9 to 6 in the middle of July in Oklahoma. I'm nervous about that. I'd rather encourage my customers to come between like 9 and noon, and then we're done, and that stress point is gone. So I'm thankful for that. This next question is, when do you open your stand? Is it better to open only one day versus open every day? So we're open on Saturdays, open at 9 a.m., tend to sell out by 11:30 on average. We've had slow days. Sometimes I decide to just call it and say like, it's a slow day. People aren't coming. We don't need to limp this along. Let's just close up and move on. But typically it is sold out in the mornings. Last year, because we were just starting out and we're trying to get our name out, we were open almost every day. And I hated that. It was so much work. The efficiency, the workflow, the labor of making bouquets every single day. And I was only making like 8, maybe 9. But it was still every single day. And that's still harvesting and conditioning and arranging and setting out and marketing it and tearing it down. It was still a lot. And I wasn't selling out every day. And I said to myself last winter, I said, I need to streamline this and I need to make it more efficient. And I need to do something with my marketing that trains the purchasing behaviors of our customers to come see us on Saturday morning, and not whenever they might have a whim for flowers, they might come and see us. That kind of buying habit is going to create a lot more loss, because it's almost like every day is a crapshoot, because you don't know what your customers are thinking. And so you're just kind of hoping some decide to come by, versus I concentrate most of our effort on building towards Saturday. If you follow us on Facebook, you kind of see the progression of my posts. We'll kind of like, I start low and not be super salesy on Monday. And then it's like I slowly ramp up the focus to Saturday. And so by Friday night, people are like, it's flower day tomorrow. We are scheduling it. We are coming to see you. We want your flowers, because it's like ramped up in its focus, versus I think people would tune me out from a marketing standpoint if every day was kind of a post, or even like 3 or 4 times where it was a post about like the flower stand's open, the flower stand's open. People are just like, I'm tuning you out. You're always just trying to sell me something. This is overwhelming. Or there's not an urgency for the flowers because you've not created any sort of scarcity. It's just kind of like they're always around. And maybe that's not incentivizing someone to come get your flowers, because it's just kind of like, okay, well, they always have flowers. Instead of like, I haven't gotten these flowers. I want to come, I want to come on Saturday, or I can only get them on Saturday. So I need to get there at 9 a.m. I need to arrange my day so I can get my flowers for the week. And this is my window to do it. So like I said, next year we'll probably open on a weekday. I'm not sure which one. I would suspect there will be a lower sales demand on a weekday. And so I'll adjust how many bouquets I make for the weekday market versus Saturday. I hope Saturday still continues to be our big day. And then maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, I make like 15 bouquets, maybe 20, see what my customers' buying habits are. But that's my argument. I think it would be better to build momentum and excitement for a few days your product's available, versus a little bit every single day. I think you'd also kind of get burned out and frustrated doing that. So that rolls in nicely to the 5th question, which says, what does my harvest schedule look like for being open one day a week? And do we have a cooler? We have a fridge. We're going to get another fridge off Facebook Marketplace again, saving money. And we're going to get one for next year because we're expanding. But my cooler only houses sunflowers pretty much in the summer. Lizzie's, when I have my Lizzie window in July, will go in there. Largely, I don't use our cooler in the summer. We use our cooler a lot for the tulips and ranunculus and spring flowers, so I can manage the harvest that's happening all week, and I can accumulate product throughout the week that's ready and put it in the cooler. Summer, it's not so much that. But what our schedule looks like now, and this might need to adjust going into year 3 as we increase and we scale up. I'm going to simply run out of time doing it the way I do it now. But typically I harvest Friday morning and Friday evening. Sometimes I'll do like all the focal flowers Friday morning, and then I'll do all the filler Friday night. And then Saturday morning I get up around 5 a.m., make my giant iced coffee, and come into this space and make the bouquets. I can make about 25 to 30 bouquets an hour. That's about my average. Sometimes I can go a little bit faster if I'm hyper focused. We made a video about how I make our market bouquets so quickly. And so if you're really bogged down in the time it takes you to make a market bouquet, and you're looking maybe for some tips or things that are like really killing that time for you, I'll link that video as well. It revolutionized how I do it when I figured out this much more efficient way and how I can do that. So because I'm putting, for example, I made 42 bouquets this morning. We're filming this on a Saturday. I made 42 this morning. I started at 6:30. I was done at like 7:45-ish, and I made 42. So I feel strongly about my system. I think it's really efficient, but that's the way I can do it now, being open on 1 day a week. Now, if we're going to be open 2 days a week, that'll shift a bit. So like I might be doing harvesting on Tuesday, arranging Wednesday morning for that stand day, and then repeat that on Friday. If we need to get to the point where we have like 60 plus bouquets in the stand on a Saturday, which would be a wonderful problem to have, I can't harvest that much in the bookends of Friday that I have, because I'm a mom of 4. I homeschool. I have priorities in my home that are non-negotiables. And so I do have capped time allotments in the morning and the evening to do those things, which means I'll probably have to add a Thursday evening on flowers that I know can sit in our nice cottage here at 70 degrees and sit and be fine for Saturday. Or like the cooler flowers, for example, the ones that can go in the cooler, I can be working on those, and then leave like the basils, the zinnias, that sort of thing for like my Friday harvest is my schedule. And then lastly, this is the biggest question I get. It's gonna be a little bit of a disappointing answer, but the biggest question I get is, how do you market your flower stand? And the way that it's a little disappointing in the moment is because I think this is worth its own video. It is, like I continue to stress, it is the reason, apart from the Lord greatly blessing us on our farm, it is the reason we have been so successful on our flower stand, and that's the marketing effort. And so I want to take the time to write down everything I'm doing and kind of organize my thoughts and put together its own video in a way that maybe will be helpful for you to replicate some of the things that I'm doing, and not just like tack it on here really quickly to the end of this video. But I will say there's some things I can share easily. We use Facebook and we use Instagram for our marketing for the farm. Sometimes when I'm in the Facebook groups and I mention like how we're doing, which I'm really feel blessed by, and our success, I'll get kind of like grouchy, mean comments that'll be like, it's only because you're a YouTube channel that you're successful. And honestly, I want to push back a little bit on it, since I look at all of our analytics and my customers largely don't watch our YouTube videos. I mean, the video I'm making right now is for flower farmers. It's not for, millennial mom of 2 that treats herself to flowers once a week. She's not watching this video. Now, of course, I think it helps that when they hear we have a YouTube channel, it probably adds an element of like legitimacy to our farm. It's like, oh, well, they must be really doing something if they have a YouTube channel. Sure. But actually, most of our customers don't know we have a YouTube channel. And I know this because I talk to them. When they come to the stand, sometimes I'll plug it. I'll talk about like, oh, we have a YouTube channel. And they're like, really? Well, I've been following you on Facebook. I didn't know you had a YouTube channel. How neat. So personally, I don't think the YouTube channel brings a noticeable bump in sales for us. So I think it's okay. Like, I don't think, well, because I'm not going to have a YouTube channel, I don't have time or interest in having a YouTube channel, I can't be successful on a flower stand. I don't think that's true. I mean, if you look at the YouTube space, there's not a ton of flower farming YouTube channels, but there are a lot of successful flower stands. You just don't hear about them as much because they're not, you know, creating this sort of content. So Facebook is our customers. Instagram is our fans. So we have way more followers on Facebook. We have about, I'm about to hit, I want to say 3,500 followers on Facebook. We have about 1,400 on Instagram. If you were to go look at my followers, most of them are flower farmers, which is fine. We love Instagram. It's where you post the pictures and the beauty and the video. I mean, we have a very visual job, so it makes sense that all of us are hanging out on Instagram and looking at what we're all doing for each other and following each other for inspiration. But my customers are coming through Facebook. So all of my sales posts, all the stuff I spend the most time on when I'm communicating with a customer or they're like DMing me and stuff, that's happening on Facebook. And then there's the YouTube, which I almost kind of like put in its own little nook on Facebook because that's where my customers are hanging out. I post every single day. That is a big problem I see right off the bat when people will comment to me about like my flower stand's not doing well, or how do you drive traffic, or I'm so frustrated, you know, and I can go and look at their Facebook page and it's been 4 days since the last post, or even 3 days since the last post. That's the problem. The algorithm on Facebook rewards people that keep people on their platform. Facebook exists to try to keep you scrolling on Facebook. And so the algorithm is going to promote people that get people to stay on Facebook. So you need to be posting a lot. I would argue every single day. If that's too much, I would say 5 days minimum. And that's going to have the algorithm, once you start getting more engagement, the Facebook algorithm is going to say, hey, people really like this content. I'm going to show it to more people. Oh, even more people like this content and they're interacting with it every day on their feed. I'm going to show it to them more. I'm going to show it to their friends, you know, in their circle. I'm going to put it on their feed. You know, when you go on Facebook and it's like suggested for you or you might like, that's Facebook's algorithm showing your content to people that are like the people that are interacting with your stuff. And that's how you grow. If you're going 3 or 4 days without posting, the algorithm, frankly, is just kind of like, guess she doesn't have much to say. I guess her people are not really on here, so they don't actually really care about the content. So I'm not going to show it to that many people, or I'm just going to put it in the feed of their followers. You know, so you have 100 followers, 300 followers, you make a post every 4 days. Maybe 30% of those 300 followers is going to see your post by the algorithm. But my metrics, for example, like here's an example, and this is where, again, if you're allergic to social media, this might be really frustrating, it might be hard. But like an example on our analytics, an average post of ours for our farm gets probably 30 to 60 likes. You know, it kind of depends on the day. Sundays tend to be a little lower because everyone's at church and doing family stuff. It makes sense. But between 30 and 60 likes, and I can click and I can say post reach, which means how many eyeballs saw the post. So not just liked it, but saw it. How many people did the algorithm send it out to? On average, our reach is minimum 1,300 people. The algorithm will push our stuff to. And that's how we're growing. That's how we're getting more followers, is because the algorithm is rewarding how much we're spending time on the platform. So that might have been like overly niche down for some people, but I think that it's important to think through these things and kind of maybe get over maybe frustration of Facebook or just feeling confused by it and how you can utilize it. It can be a really great tool. But I will put more of those types of detailed thoughts down, and we'll do a separate video and walk through some of that stuff, because I know for people that don't enjoy social media, they don't know what these tools are or what the algorithm is or how to even tell what the algorithm is doing with your stuff. So I'll work on that. If you have a specific question about marketing, it's always helpful to me if you ask. So put it in the comment section, or you can DM me on Instagram and stuff, and I can make a note of it and talk about it specifically. I'm very passionate, as you can tell, about marketing, because I feel like it is what has made us successful in the way that it has. And I see a lot of new flower farms underutilizing the potential of social media. They're growing beautiful flowers. They're working so hard on the farming side. And then the social media marketing is kind of like C grade. And I think it would be better to flip that. I think if you are an A+ marketer with B+ flowers, you're going to be way more successful financially than if you were like a B marketer and just grew the most beautiful flowers ever, because I don't think they sell themselves in quite the way maybe us as flower farmers think that they should. You know, like the most perfect Lysianthus, you know, that's what we see and work so hard to achieve. But your customer is kind of like, okay, and that's where marketing comes in. You have to sell them that perfect, beautiful Lysianthus, you know, that you took 6 months to grow. You need to sell them on it. So that's the questions I had submitted. I hope this video was encouraging. We are not coming at this with any sort of like, we've arrived and have it all figured out. Certainly not. Still every day I'm blown away by the response that we've gotten, and I'm so very thankful for it. I'm thankful to the Lord that He's blessing our farm and He's blessing what we're doing. And I want to be observational about why is this, you know, happening? What are the sorts of common denominators I can pick up on and be able to share that could be applicable to your own farm or your own idea, or things that you can change and to make your farm better, to make your farm successful. If you're not a flower farmer at all, I hope you enjoyed this discussion of flower stands, and you should go buy from flower stands in your hometown and support local flowers that we all work so hard to grow and try to sell you. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, I will link the videos I mentioned in the description. And if you have more questions, please ask, because it makes it so much easier for us to make videos that we feel are helpful when you interact with us. And so I really enjoy that. And like and subscribe, share, do all those fun things, because we really appreciate your support here on this channel, which, like I said, is not all, you know, it's not just all my customers here on this channel. Is other flower farmers or those that just love supporting flower farmers. I'm really thankful for that. So thank you for blessing us, and I hope this video is helpful, and we'll see you in the next one.